All right. So this is our schedule that we've got for the webinars for this month. You'll see if you tuned in yesterday, we had like a general overview of how to use the platform. Today, we're going to focus on like adding classes, teachers, permissions, how to use the admin panel, that kind of stuff. On Wednesdays, we've got curricular alignment, Thursdays, tracking and data, and on Fridays, alignment with international qualifications like IB and Cambridge. And you'll see here in the timetable that you see here, all of the times are listed in UK time. So make sure that you adjust the time according to whatever zone you're working in. And we'll give it another minute or two as people filter in to see if we get some more people to watch the webinar today. And otherwise, my name is Grayson, and I'll be showing you around the admin panel today. So let's just give it one more minute, and then we'll get started. Okay, so looks like we've probably got everybody who's going to be joining us today. As I said before, you can check out the schedule for the different webinars we have going on and sign up in the future if you'd like. They're about 20 to 30 minutes each. So if you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A box, which is just at the bottom of the screen. You can ask a question, and I've got my colleague here who's working support and who will be able to answer you in the chat box. Or if you'd rather wait until the end, we can answer it at the end as well. There'll be some time for questions. So with all that, let's just go ahead and get started. We're going to take a look at the class, how to organize your classes. Let's see here. All right. So this is how it looks when you very first log in. This is the dashboard. You'll see a little bit of everything here. You've got, in this case, now we've got the latest books and the next books. We've got a countdown here to the next books that will be coming out next week. And this is pretty much the same login for everybody. Admins and teachers and students will all have access to this. Everything that you see underneath the teacher panel here, dashboard to documentation, pretty much all of that is exactly the same for students as well, except for the My Student section, of course, is specific to teachers. Everyone who has, you'll see that there are two kinds of profiles essentially, or users with Fiction Express. We have the admins and regular teachers. Regular teachers have access to all of this that you'll see here, and they're able to add their own students and manage their own classes, etc. The main difference is that the admin at the school is able to do the same things for all of the different classes and all the different teachers. So we're just going to have a quick look through the platform to see what the teacher panel looks like, and then we'll go to the admin panel and go into some more detail. So here you've got the dashboard. Here you'll have the access to the latest books. The books tab is the library, and where you can search for the entire back catalog of books that we have, more than 200. The forum is how we access the author forum, where the authors post questions and the readers are able to respond to them. We've got activities here where we've got projects that can be developed throughout the course of each book. We've got, and as well as each chapter of each book has its own activity sheet with separate activities specific to that chapter. You've got the lists here, which is, as you look through the library, you can click the heart and it will create your wish list, and teachers are able to create recommendations for the students as well, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And this is where the students would see their recommendations from the teacher. My progress is particularly useful for students. It allows them to see basically what they've read and seen and done recently to keep track of their own progress and pick up where they left off in case there's any confusion. And the documentation tab, which is incredibly helpful. It's full of really useful resources. There's a publishing calendar that shows which days the new chapters are coming out and when there are breaks. We've got the reading levels here, which explain a sort of rough equivalency of the difference between levels 1, 2, and 3 and level 1 light, and where students tend to be reading with them, although of course it's up to the teachers what works best for their classroom. We've got some tutorials and information for parents and all that as well. But what we're going to focus on today is the, as far as the teacher panel goes, is the My Students tab. So from here, you'll see that you've got some overview of information of the activity of your students. You'll see that as of now, because we've just started the new, we haven't had much going on in the last couple of months, so there's not much activity going on here. The teacher profile has access to, this is the general view that has an overview of everything. There's a tracking panel, which gives you an idea of what each class is doing. We will be going over this in greater detail on Thursday's webinar. I believe it's Thursday. Exactly. So if you have some questions about that, you're welcome to tune in then. Student history is just another way of looking at the tracking per student rather than per class. And here you have exercises, which is where, as a teacher, you'll be able to access quiz results as well. And the book reviews from your students, and you'll be able to review their activity in the forum as well. You can access that from the forum or from here. And at the end of each chapter, there's a quiz. And as of now, by default, when the students finish the quiz, the answers are not shown. And this is where you would be able to change that if you do want the answers to be shown at the end. So the student can decide, is able to see what answers they got wrong and which ones they got right before they come to class. This is where you're able to activate or deactivate that. And here we come to manage classes, which is the main part of today's webinar. You'll see here that this is where you can see all of the classes that are assigned to this particular teacher. And you'll be able to see classes where you're assigned, this particular teacher is assigned as a supporting teacher as well. It's all pretty self-explanatory. If you click on the class, you'll see the list of students. You can select them if you need to move them around or for any reason. And this is where there are two main differences. Pretty much all of this is going to be exactly the same in the admin panel as well. There are two main differences. There are two things that you can only do from the teacher panel. So even if you have admin access, you have to enter the teacher panel in order to do these, which is disabling the audio feature here, where each chapter has an audio file of the author reading the chapter aloud, and that's enabled by default. So it's accessible through the reader, the reading element of the platform. And if you prefer not to have that, this is where you can go and deactivate that for your class. You'll see that here as well, disable audio. The other main difference is that only from the teacher panel are you able to recommend books to your students. If you'd like to assign them a book that to read throughout the course of throughout the term or in between and any kind of break, this is where you would be able to do that. And you'll see here you've got access to all of their login information, tracking. You can edit the class name. You're able to reassign the class to another teacher or if you'd like as well from here. I'll show you a bit more about how that works once we enter the admin panel. So this is what the admin panel looks like. As I mentioned before, if you just have teacher access, you'll just see everything that's beneath the teacher panel. But the admin has both the admin panel and the teacher panel. So you can toggle between these two different views. So from the admin panel, if you have admin access, you'll be able to see here, once again, there's some more data, and we'll go over that on Thursday if that's more interesting or helpful for you. And you've got class tracking as well, same as before, student history, pretty much all the same as the teacher panel, only it's a bigger view. You're able to see the entire school and select between different classes and different teachers as necessary. One of the main roles that the admin plays in the account is that the admin is the only person who is able to add teachers. So teachers can't add themselves. They have to be added by the admin to the, or by us at Fiction Express to the account. And the way that that is done is through the teacher tab here in the admin panel. It's pretty self-explanatory. Here you'll see all of the teachers that are available that have been activated. If you need to add a new teacher, you click right here and it creates a code that will be sent to them. They don't have to memorize the code or anything like that. They receive an email, and all I have to do is open the email and click the link and enter their information, just the name. And once that's put in and selected, they'll basically be added to the account, and then they'll appear right here. So here you see all of the codes that have been created but never been sent out. And here you'll see the teachers that are currently active. You'll see the teachers here that don't have admin next to their name are regular teachers. And here you see the admin account is highlighted and it says admin. You're able to have 3 admins for each account. As the admin, you can designate another teacher as admin as well. So by selecting the options here, you can select enable admin and give that access to another teacher. But remember, there can only be 3 at a time. Not every teacher can have the admin access. This is also where you'd be able to remove access for any given teacher who's no longer working with the school, and where you can see the details of the code they use and when their profile was created. Let's see. And so now we'll come to the students. And this is kind of the main part of today, which is that now we're going back into school, starting the new year. And there are different ways of adding courses and organizing them that depending on what it is that how it's working with your school. So in the event that basically the course groups are exactly the same and it's just the teacher or just the year that's changed, you can basically just click here and edit the class name and change it from 2021, 2022 to 2022, 23. If it's the exact same course group. If the teachers changes, you can change the name and change the teacher just through here and through here. And that's the easiest way to do that if the groups aren't really changing. If they are changing, or you need to create new classes, the way that would be done is through here. Now let's see, 2020, just pop in a name, select the teacher, and here will be your 3 options. So the first one is select existing students. So in this case, if you have students that were working with Fiction Express before and they still have accounts that are on the platform, this is the most important thing to do. It's important not to create a new account for them in the new year if they already have an existing account, because you only have so many licenses, and again, it can become very confusing to have duplicated students. So if you're working with students that already have access to the platform, it's best to use the same account, in which case here you select existing students. You can just search for the student here. And you can unselect them if you need. Remove him. Let's put someone else in here, just to give you an idea of how this works. And then you're able to save it. So these are the students from last year that I've now put into this new class. Whatever class they were in the previous year, their account will be removed from there and put into this new one. So it's not creating a duplicate account. It's just basically moving them from one class to another. And here, once the class is complete, you're able to download the logins, and you're able to see here their username and password. And if you'd like to print this out and cut it out and give them a piece of paper, that's just fine. Otherwise, suppose that, let's see, where did we put 2023? Suppose that this is the class from last year. We have some new students that we want to add. We also have this option here, which is type names. So if you don't have the students existing and you're just adding a couple to this class, maybe it was the same group from last year, but there's been a little bit of change, you can just add new students here. So Jane, Bill, and John, Bill. Click save. And now you'll see they've been added to the same list and put in order. And you can download the logins again with all the students. And lastly, if you're creating a brand new class, and you have an entire new selection of students, and you don't want to go through and type them all by hand. The third option here is to, let's just add students here, is to upload an Excel. And we have a very simple template that you're welcome to download here. It's just first name and last name, and copy and paste the names in and upload the entire document, and the students will all be uploaded in bulk. So I've got one prepared here that we can use. Let's see. So I'll show you just how that looks. If you see here, this is the template. It's just first name, last name. You fill in all the students' names here, and that's all there is to it. Once you've got that ready, you can go ahead and click here, open it, and click process file. And then you'll see all the students have been added to this class. They're put in order, and now our class is finished. So we've used all three methods. We've selected some existing students, we've added some new students, and then we've added a lot more new students in bulk. Let's see here. And then if there's any other things that need to be changed, you can always select the students here. So let's select the 2 students that we had last year, for example, and we'll put them back into another class. So you can move them out. And now, as an example, as I just created all these students by random, we can delete this class just to give you an idea. You'll get a little warning to remind you that it can't be undone. All the information here, the names, all the information will be lost before you delete any class. So that is the basis of everything that needs to be done in order to manage your classes and keep things neat and tidy with your new students. Everything's fairly intuitive. It's always just here in options. And as I said, the teacher panel and the admin panel more or less have the same permissions. It just depends on whether you're working with your own classes or with others' classes. So let's see here. I think that pretty much covers everything that we had for our webinar today. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions about anything that I went over a little too quickly or anything specific. Go ahead and you can go ahead and pop that into the Q&A, and we'll get those questions answered for you. Okay. Looks like I don't see anybody asking questions. There's one little thing that the last thing that I forgot to mention is that we do have auxiliary teachers as well. So in addition to the regular teacher for the class, you can always add a supporting teacher as well. And if you just click on change teacher, and you're able to add the teacher here. All right, I think that covers us for today. If there are no questions, then I appreciate you all taking the time to come and listen to this webinar. I'll pop the schedule back up here really quickly. Just to remind you of what's going on this week. Tomorrow we'll have curricular alignment, tracking and evaluation on Thursday. We'll go into the tracking panel and all the data you can get from the platform. And Friday in alignment with international qualifications such as IB and Cambridge. So I think that covers us for today. My name is Grayson. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at support@fictionexpress.com. We'll be happy to answer any other questions that you might have remaining. So thanks for your time today.